Well, good evening to everyone. So glad you were able to join us for the locker room for the month of February, and we're going to have another exciting conversation tonight. Thank you for those who are logging in on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. So happy that you were able to come on and join and be in with us tonight. What we want you to do is go ahead and hit that share button and go ahead and share this broadcast out so that other friends and followers on these outlets can join on and join in with us tonight. We have an exciting conversation for you tonight. I'm excited. I'm pumped. I can't wait to get ready to have this conversation with these wonderful panelists that we have tonight on this subject. And so, without further ado, I'm going to introduce them and bring them on. This first young man, I've been knowing him for many, many years. He is an extremely talented singer, extremely talented, wonderful person to know. I've known, and like I said, I've known him for a while, and he's just always been authentic, always been the same. And he's doing some amazing things, just amazing things, not only in music, but he's doing amazing things in other areas also. And I'm excited to have him actually back on the locker room again. And so I just want to bring to the locker room my brother Jaimier Hennegan. Jaimier, what's up, man?
What's going on? What's going on? Happy to be back.
Great, great, great. So glad you are back, man. Um, Next young lady I want to bring on, been knowing her for a very long time as well. Uh, Kind of grown up through the ranks of church and other things, and she is an absolutely wonderful. Um, I think they call them nail technicians. I think
Yeah.
whatever the technical name is for it, but the girl does awesome nails. Okay, she does awesome nails, very creative, and does so many other things. And she's a local business owner here in Buffalo who has been doing what she's been doing for a long time, and she's been very successful. And there's a whole lot of hands out there that look beautiful because of her. And so I want to bring her to the stage. And actually, she's back on the locker room as well. So I want to bring my sister and my friend, Miss Shar Walker. What's up, Shar? How are you?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Shar.
Good,
Hey.
good, good.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on. Last but not least, um, I call him the Hulk because he is like the workout king. And there's a lot of people that experience a lot of pain,
Yeah.
but their lives are better, they're healthier, they're stronger, they're looking better. And so he is blowing up in the health and wellness industry as a fitness trainer. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that are already benefiting from having him as their coach to navigate them through their journey of being healthy, of living a strong, healthy life. And there are more and more great things to come for him. I'm excited, and I appreciate him taking his time out to be with us tonight on the locker room. And so I want to also bring to the locker room stage my friend and brother, Juwan Baker. What's up, Juwan? You got to unmute your mic, Juwan. Let me see if I can unmute you. Nope. You can We can't hear you still. Did you connect your mic? Go ahead. All right. All right. Let's try something let me try something real quick. Let's try to get Juwan back in here. Come remove him. We're gonna bring him back. All right. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. I think I'm supposed to do it from here. Okay, Juwan, are you there? Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
His comment says he can't hear.
He can't hear. Okay.
In the chat, it says he can't hear.
Okay. All right, we're gonna try to get him to log out and log back in. Okay, here he is. Let's see.
What's going on?
There we go. We
Hey,
got
I
sound.
don't know
got
what
it.
was happening. I'm like, I can't hear.
All right, awesome. All right, man. Thank you, man. Glad you here, Juwan. Appreciate you being on, man. Did sound go out again?
Oh, heaven help us today.
Again, thank you to everyone who has logged on Facebook and YouTube. We're just kind of working through a couple of technical issues right now, but just bear with us. We are going to be getting started in just a minute here. But if you haven't, please go ahead, like and share this broadcast out tonight so that people will be able to log on to. Excuse me. People will be able to. Oh, my sound went out there. And be with you. All right, Juwan, we good? We can't hear you now. Are you muted?
We're good.
Okay. All right. There we go. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's jump right into the conversation. So our title tonight is Singles Need Love Too, Craig. And so I did a nice little play on from the movie, I think it was Next Friday. And you know, and y'all remember the scene where Dede was trying to get Baby D to leave him alone. She was chasing him around the car. And so finally he said, "What I gotta do?" And he said, okay, somebody said I'm echoing. Let's get rid of that echo. Let's see, how do we get rid of that echo? Let's see, how do we get rid of that echo? Okay, how's that? Is there still an echo?
A little bit.
Little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not on my end. I hear everybody perfectly fine.
Okay, is the echo gone?
A little.
We good? Just want to make sure we got a good clean sound tonight. Echo's gone. We all good? Facebook, let me know.
Oh, Blair, we can't hear you, honey.
don't want to sleep great tonight.
I mean, none of these devices want to work properly.
Like,
Hear nothing. I was like, maybe it's because I'm in the green room. I can hear it. But when I came on, I was like, oh man.
Oh, nah. Oh, Blair left us. Oh, man.
Nope. I should be okay. I'm back.
We can hear you
Okay.
now.
Can we still not hear me?
Nope, we can hear
we
you.
can hear you.
Hear me. All right. All right. So we're good to go. We're good to go. So all right. So we're talking singles need love too. Singles need love too. And so as I said, it was a play off of words from Friday of next Friday. He was chasing Day Day was chasing Big D was chasing Day Day, and he said, hook me up with your cousin. And so he said, okay. She said, I just want to come talk to me. So he went over to Craig and told Craig what he wanted. And that's when Craig said the line. Now we know what Craig said. Okay. But he said, fat girls need love too, Craig. So tonight, I said, we're going to say singles need love too. Singles need love too. Now, I will openly admit to you all, and most of you know that I've been married for 20 some years, and I have been single since 2002. So I have no idea what the single life has morphed into, what it looks like, what it feels like, or any of that stuff. So the first thing I just do ask our panelists, and actually I want to read to you this quote I found today, which I thought was real interesting. It was an interesting quote that I want to share with you. I want to kind of start and get your feeling on this. So this is by Jennifer Lawrence. It says this. She said, I'm not a lonely person. I never feel lonely, and it's not a sad thing. I think what I'm trying to get across is that I don't feel a lack of something not being in a relationship. I don't think there's an additional void to be filled. So that was by actress Jennifer Lawrence, and she gave her quote about being single. I'll read it one more time. I'm not a lonely person. I never feel lonely, and it's not a sad thing to be alone. I think what I'm trying to get across is that I don't feel a lack of something in a relationship. I don't feel like there is an emotional void to be filled. So I want to start with Juwan on this one. So Juwan, what do you think about that quote?
I I have a couple thoughts. I feel like the loneliness, it's not about you being in a relationship or not, because you could be lonely. I think it's more the lack of connecting even with yourself. Like that's kind of how I think loneliness can happen when you're around a group of people. You can be in a room full of people and feel alone. So I don't think it has a correlation with the relationship.
All right, awesome. Cheryl, come on, jump in here.
Me?
Yes, you.
Oh.
Charnel.
I feel there's a big difference between being alone and being lonely, right? So you can be alone and genuinely enjoy being with yourself and that not be a problem. But being single and being lonely is a whole different beast all in itself. You can go all day and be fine. And then when the lights go out and you got 18 pillows on your bed, you lonely. So, I mean, I think it's situational. I think it really just depends on the person.
Okay, good. Jaimier.
not 18 pillows.
Right.
Baby, let me tell you, 14 and counting, okay?
Oh.
Oh my God. Um, I definitely agree with both of the panelists to say it's all about your mindset and perception of being alone, feeling lonely, and even intertwining the both. Because again, you can be in a relationship, whether if it's romantic or just have a friendship, and still feel like I'm in this alone. And you
Mm-hmm.
have somebody next to you, but the emotional connection, or even just you could even take it spiritually, you just feel like nobody gets you. So to satisfy your emotional needs when you are by yourself is very important. So that way you'll be secure with yourself. And even when you bring in somebody else, there's just a more heightened security in that relationship.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that. Somebody else want to jump in?
Oh.
I just agree with what was said.
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah. So okay, so I like that whole deal that there's a difference between being lonely and I believe there is a definite difference between the two. And so in you when you either alone or lonely and you've had those feelings, how have you dealt with it? Like what is something that you go to? What is like a what are some of the vices that you may have had, or what are some of the things that you do when feelings trigger? And so we'll go reverse this time. We'll start with Charnel. We'll go to Jaimier and then Juwan.
My coping mechanism is getting in my kitchen. I like to cook. So it helps me think, it
Hmm.
helps me process my feelings, and I can get out my feelings that way because I have a hard time voicing my opinions to people because I feel like people are untrustworthy. And a lot of times when you're single and you voice your, you try to communicate how you're feeling in your singleness to married people or people who are not single, they tend to shun you and their only resolve is shut up and wait. And that's not, you can't tell single people that. You just can't. It just doesn't work that way. I mean, maybe it did in the 50s, 60s, 70s, but here in 2024, you just can't tell people to shut up and wait without giving them tools to be able to do that. So, me personally, I like to just busy myself.
I'll say for me, um,
Okay.
sorry. I'll say for me, just because of the type of person that I am, I just deal with it, and then after a while, just move on. So it don't always last a long time. And then even like to piggyback with Chanel, even when you talk to another single person, sometimes they look for a pity party.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I don't want to be subject to, if I'm talking to you about it, that I'm looking for pity, and or I don't want to invite you to bring me into your pity. So usually I have the feeling like, oh, I wish I had somebody. But then after I voice it to myself or just think about it and either go to sleep, I just move on and go and just go forth in my life.
You don't dwell there.
I don't
Yeah.
dwell in that place.
Yeah.
Wow. Understood. Come on, Juwan.
I think what you said about not dwelling there is important because a lot of people do dwell in. I think we all kind of have a moment where we feel lonely. I think we all kind of experience that. And even in the midst of being alone, you can still kind of feel like you're not understood. Especially going through singleness, we're kind of looking for to be able to invite into all areas of our life so we don't act lonely. But I say for me, I take it two ways. So I think community is so even if you're single, you can have people that you confide in, people that you talk to, like, hey, let's go out to a movie, let's go to the gym, let's go do something in that moment where I'm alone or or if I can't access my community. For me, it's like, okay, what can I do to pour into myself? What can I do to help myself? Okay, I'm feeling it now, but what can I do to like get my pump? And so for me, it's like working out. I'll journal sometimes. It really depends on the mood I am. I think it's addressing what you're feeling, being honest. Like, yeah, I'm kind of feeling a little, but then doing something, not just saying,
I have a question for Juwan.
what's going on? What's on your mind?
Shoot.
Because I think me and Blair are like the oldest ones on the panel. So what happens when that doesn't work? Because being single in your 20s is very different than being single in your 30s and 40s, right? So
Right.
in your 20s, you're like, blow it off. I'm young. I got time. But then when you hit your 30s, it's like, wait a minute, I might
Yeah,
not have that much time. You know what I mean? So like,
that's what I
how
know.
do you process the fact that, okay, I'm getting older and I don't know much about elderly people in this day and age outside of my mother, but I know in my family, the older ones make you feel like you're doing something wrong if you're not married by the time you're 30.
Right.
So how do you cope with your feelings of getting older and not like, how do you cope with maybe one day you don't want to hang out with your friends? Maybe you just want to be like, you know what? I just want to cuddle with my girl.
That's
And now I
awful.
don't have one.
That's
Your sheets is
okay.
cold. Like
I'll
these are the
say that.
things that the church don't teach us to deal with.
That's right. That's honest. I would say for me, I can't speak all the way to that because I am in my 20s. So,
Mhm.
but as far as where I've been, it's more like, okay, I had a thought in my head like, oh, I want to be married by 20 or like some young age. And
Mhm.
obviously that hasn't happened. So I'm like, okay, God, is it something with me? Am I not doing what I'm supposed to do? And I would just say, as much as we don't want to hear it, I think God does have a plan for you. I feel like a lot of us don't all the way capitalize on a single season. Um, in a season where we're just waiting. And I would just say what my advice would be, continue to build and do for yourself. Because I think all that stuff will come. I don't know when it will come, but I think just being honest about where you're at helps. Like, hey, I am feeling this way. I'm
Yeah.
feeling I want to hang, you know what I mean? And even if hanging out with friends doesn't work, I just think being honest with yourself, like I am feeling alone. What can I do to get myself out of the house or out of this so I can meet somebody or that's
Mhm.
I could speak to
I'm gonna pray the Lord send the Amazon girl to your door.
that.
Oh, he already. So I have
Haji.
a thought. We was talking about community and talking it out. What I also want to, and I'll just say this off of personal experience, what I also want to point out is when we talking to other people, that we make sure that we're talking to the right one, because a lot of times we could talk about it and it also gets us in trouble. And y'all know the
Same.
trouble I'm talking about.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
again, it's inviting another, if you're talking to another single person, even well nowadays, even married people. But if you're talking to another person, you're inviting them to your vulnerable state and space. And sometimes people will take advantage of that, and then you end up living a supposed to be married life, but you're still single. So that also taints your single life as well, and that to me pushes back the potential life that you're supposed to have inherited purely.
Yeah.
So I just was thinking about it, like we have to just be more careful with who we talk to as well about it.
Yeah. You don't
Having your
want to mess with your
community
purpose.
as a real safe place versus trying to get it out and then you inviting people in your personal space and it don't work out that well.
That's true.
You muted, Blair.
Oh,
Okay, so I wanna go here because you Charnel, you said something, and Jameer, you said something. Charnel, you said something. You said that um that the church hasn't really given us tools for that. To that you can't just say just
Shut
wait.
up and wait.
Like, because just wait don't really hold water right now. And Jaimier, you mentioned about, you got to be careful who you're talking to, because when you're talking about certain things, you can't. So something that seems to be very prevalent, at least in with single people today, and I think we see it all over social media, is there's this whole idea of of being sexually free.
Fluid is what they
Is
call it.
the word that I keep. And the truth is that our bodies are our bodies, right? And the feelings that we have in those areas, you're supposed to have, because that's how we were made. We're supposed to have that. So
Right.
that's not, it's not something strange, it's something that happens. And we've always heard in the church that and we understand that the word talks about having sex before marriage, and this, that, and the other, and we get that. However, living in the real world, okay, is that when you're single, and even if you're dating, okay, and you have people that you're dating that you like, that you're feeling, y'all have a vibe. Well, usually the Bible ain't nowhere around, and
Hello.
usually neither are the people telling you that you shouldn't do it. So you're tossed between, I want to do it right, but I have the outside influence that projects that it is okay to be sexually free, be single. And in some cases, it's like I can be sexually free and single and still be saved. So you got all three of those things working, and you're tossed between trying to figure out, okay, which way am I going to go with this? Which way am I going to go with this? Because while I do it right, my body still won't what body won't. That's still a real thing.
It is.
So in this climate, like, how do you guys juggle it and deal with it? Because we can't act like it ain't there. We can't act like it's not there, like it doesn't exist. And again, because all of us grew up in church mostly all of our lives, so we've heard it over and over again. Yet and still, even hearing it over and over again, now you're at a place where I'm grown, I'm an adult, I can really do what I want to do. Nobody can tell me what I can't do. Nobody can try to prevent me from doing. I can find a way to get it done, blah, blah, blah. So how do you juggle all of that without crossing the lines that you don't want to cross or shouldn't cross? But even if you do cross that line, how do you deal with it? How do you live in it? Because the truth is, people gonna cross that line, and they're gonna cross it willingly. It's not like it's like do it. No, you meant to do it. You exactly knew what you were doing and meant to do it. So how do you live in that environment? How do you function with that? Because that's a very real thing. And we with anybody we want.
I'll say this quick and then I'll be quiet. I feel like we have to go against the mindset it just happened and acknowledge your real feelings. If this is something that you really wanted to do on you, I think whoever you're dealing with, you have to somewhat be honest about where you're at, at least with yourself. Like, hey, I do want to do this. If I want to avoid it, what led me here in the first place?
Kissing. Sorry.
But you got to be self-aware. I think you have to know, okay, these are my triggers. These are things that's going to get me there. So if you really don't want to do it, you're not going to go down that road or be in the mindset. Let's see how far we can go without doing it.
That's a setup for failure.
Yeah.
That is a setup. And I am in a committed relationship, okay?
Go ahead.
I am. But I have the mindset of, you know, going back to old time way, the old time way. Like I said, the old school church, they just said, don't do it. They never gave us a reason. It was do as I say, and that's it, without giving us knowledge and tools or even real valid reasons on why we shouldn't be doing it. Like these are things that some of us had to figure out as we went along, right? So it's like, don't have sex before you get married. But why? Like, I'm having these feelings. You're not telling me what to do with it, so I'm going to go and experiment. I'm going to see for myself, like the girl on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm going to see for myself because that was me. Oh, he's cute. But and then, especially like in the church, you got sexual vultures, men and women, musicians, choir kids, like people is hot in the pants. Like they go to conventions to be hot in the butt. So you have to really just make up in your mind, like Shep has been preaching the last couple of weeks, making purposeful decisions. Like we're way past the age of accountability. Like you don't have nobody's putting a gun to your head, making you do anything. It's really, you have to make a conscious choice for yourself and for your body and for your feelings after. Because I know me personally, and this is just being transparent, like sometimes when I went and did what I wanted to do, the guilt and the shame that I felt afterwards just wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
It was like, dang, I really just did that? Like, why? And then now I'm on the altar on Sunday morning weeping and crying and laying all over the floor because I'm trying to get free from something I chose to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to be able to navigate the single realm is very difficult, especially in this day and age, because the further we move along with technology and things that are so easily accessible, the harder it is to resist certain things. And I think a lot of it comes along with being single older. So it's like sometimes you feel, and this is just me having to talk with my homegirl, sometimes you feel like, okay, I'm just settle so I don't be alone. So I don't have to be lonely.
Right.
And so you have to be able, like Juwan said, you have to be very self-aware and feeling like I'm going to be all right whether I have somebody or not. Like it's a real thing to make up your mind. Like I'm going to just be happy with Jesus alone until Jesus says, you know what, you're ready. Because sometimes we as people are not ready for what we asking God for in a partnership and in a mate. We're just not ready. You get it and then you mishandle it.
Yes.
And now everybody's hurt. And for what? When you could have just waited.
I want to agree with.
Before Jaimier comes, real quick, because Charnel, that I always thought was a little bit crazy, because you would say, like in the church, they would tell you, don't do it. Don't, just don't do it. Now, what I found funny was the person saying don't do it. Well, you got like 6 kids.
Whole time doing it. Whole time they doing it. Whole time.
Got it.
So
whole time they got skeletons in their closet falling out.
And you.
Like,
mind boggling.
You telling me not to do it. I'm supposed to ignore the visibility of the fun that you had. Obviously.
Hello.
I have to ignore that. Don't do
so
and
many activities.
And I think that's like, I'll say this. When I was younger, I'll say this. This the one thing my, and he said, look, listen. Obviously, you know what you shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you shouldn't do. However, once I got, 18 and 19 years old, and and he just said, okay, you know what you shouldn't do, but this is all I'm gonna tell you. And some people would probably think my father was wrong for telling me this, but he told me, he said, all I'm gonna tell you is this: if you're gonna do it, make sure you strap up.
I told my kids the truth, baby. Listen, it's fun, but don't
said,
like.
Guess what? If you mess around and you get somebody pregnant, look, care of it, because I'm not. You gonna take care of it. Now he never he did not encourage me to do it, but he also understood you 19. You gonna do. You 2021. You gonna do what you gonna do. I've already told you, so you know what the word says. You know how I stand on it. You know how I feel. At the same time, if you gonna do it, then protect yourself. If that's what you gonna do, protect yourself and deal
Listen.
with whatever consequences that come with it. You have to deal with it. And I think in the church, that's been the issue, is that there's so much telling you don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, instead of just having a real conversation to say, hey, there's a you might.
Listen.
There's a dance that you just might.
Right.
Transparency wins souls at
And
the
if
end
you
of every
do,
day.
That part.
Transparency wins souls. And these, especially these new kids, they don't want to hear
yeah,
nothing about don't do nothing. You got to give these babies an explanation. And you got to tell them the truth sometime without telling them too much. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I tell the kids all the time, like it's comical, but it's the facts. Kissing get you pregnant. Especially with these people's short attention spans from 8 to 80. Everybody is impatient. So what happens when you're bored with kissing? What's the next step? I don't want to do this no more. Hello,
Right.
I'm bored with this. Like it's the reality of the situation. Teach me the way. Teach me the game
yeah.
goes. To
Come
me,
on,
if you
Jaimier.
don't want me to do it, teach me how to not do it. I'm open and I'm willing to learn, but you got to give me something outside of saying don't do it.
Don't do. Mm-hmm. Don't do it.
Go ahead, Jaimier.
um, I was going to acknowledge and agree with what Charnel said as far as going out there, doing it, and then you feel the conviction. Now you're back on the altar, blah, 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 blah. So I was just going to acknowledge two spectrums of it, saying as a whole, it just depends on your level of conviction. Because also, of course, all of us grew up in the church, but there are some people who's not churched. So they might not have the same conviction level as we do.
Yeah.
So because we were told straight up, don't do it from our forefathers and mothers, we have a little more guilt, like, oh shoot, I done went out, we done did this, that, and the other. So now I feel bad. Now I'm on the altar. And I heard somebody say, now I'm gonna sing, I will never let you down, Holy One. But then you have those that's not church that's like, well, hey, I'm grown, so I'm gonna do whatever I want to do because
Uh-huh.
I was told it was so good. I was told that I'm gonna feel this type of way, and I'm already feeling this type of way, so I'm gonna go out and do what I gotta do and do the whole shebang. So it just depends on your level of even those of us that are in church. Some people just, hey, what the heck? I'm gonna just get it done and do what I gotta do without a care in the world.
Uh-huh.
So what are your thoughts? So what are your thoughts on dating? What should dating be? Because there's some people who feel you date to date. There's some feel you date because you want to marry, and there's some people who date because they just don't want to be by themselves. So
Uh,
they don't have to be settled with one person, but they'll go out on a date with this one, a date with that one, date with this, because they just want to be out with somebody. So everybody dates for different reasons and looks at that whole thing completely differently. So I want to know from you guys, what do you feel about marriage, and does your feeling about marriage affect how you date or who you date?
I feel
Anybody
like
can start.
marriage is wonderful. And if you have that ultimate goal of, I want the companionship, I want the partnership, I want to build and then have a legacy with children and then allowing the bloodline and the your last name to carry over and just to have somebody who you can confide with and somebody to raise your offspring with and blah 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 blah. I think it's beautiful. So if you date to find that right person and you know your ultimate goal is to have somebody that you want to live your life with, I think that you should be able to express that to who you're talking to and dating, and then be able to see if their goals meet yours. Because ultimately, like I said, I think marriage is beautiful.
I mean, I can just
All right,
echo that.
Juwan.
As far as I can speak to me, I know because I want to be married. So when I do consider dating somebody, it's a lot of it is just to gather more information. It's like I could see potential in a person, or I could like a trait, or like, oh, I could see that working. But you really don't know until you get context to a person and what they want. And like we said, if I want to be married, but the person doesn't want to be married, that's going to be a problem for me because I want to be married. So that's have to. I'm not going to know that unless we have a conversation or we spend some time. And I would just say, as far as Chris, I don't see. There's no problem on you going out on a date and dating, get more context to who a person is. I think I think sometimes that could be frowned upon, but I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you have clear boundaries on me dating is not going to be me doing X, Y, Z. And whatever that's based on your conviction, your faith, whatever that would be. But you going out with somebody to eat and getting to know them better, I don't see any problem with that.
Mm. I think the
Shar.
problem with dating, I feel like the problem with dating is there's too many married people in the dating pool.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Sorry. Not
You
sorry.
can't
Mm-hmm.
What's
There's
Thursday?
I'm gonna say it again for the people in the back that probably didn't. There's too many married people in the single people's dating pool. Number one, and they don't care.
Mhm.
They're miserably married, and um, they too busy messing with single people. And they mess with vulnerable single people who desire companionship and desire to be married and desire not to be alone and lonely. And then you take good people away from the dating scene
Mhm.
because now they running behind somebody married that's never going to leave their family, male or female. I'm not, picking one side. um, Also, I feel like social media has kind of tainted the dating phase because everybody wants to have the photo ops, right? Versus I believe that in the dating phase, you should be having the hard conversations because
Yes.
you cute, but can you pray? You cute, but are you schizophrenic 3 days a week? Are you gonna hit me? You know what
Yes.
I mean? Like, do you how's your relationship with your parents? How are you with money? Can you pay bills on time? These are all things that you have to be able to navigate through in your singleness or your dating phase to be able to say, hey, I think I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. Like, are you going to be okay waking up and going to sleep to the same penis and the same vagina for the rest of your life without being bored? Are you capable of embracing your partner's change? Because the person that they are today, they're not going to be that same person 5 years from today.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right. And you're committing to that person if you
That's
take
true.
that step of marriage.
You're committing to constantly learning that person, right?
Yep.
You're committed to keeping things fresh. Like, okay, we got that's what you mean when you grow together. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that me and Juwan, we got married today and Charnel, she took off. And Juwan is still a personal trainer at TOP 5. No. If,
Yeah.
if you're not if you're not in a position to help your partner grow with you,
Come on.
Right.
then you don't need to be in a relationship, and that's just what it is.
Right. And a lot of that, like I said, needs to be established in the dating phase. Like why you are talking.
Yeah,
What are your ambitions? What are your goals? What are your dreams? How does that
yeah.
where I'm going? And a lot of that stuff, I think we involve the physical way too fast time before we can
Yep.
actually see it. Because
Yeah.
if the only thing that's tying to you physically, that's gonna fade.
You do.
Especially attitude is stink, their bank account is stink. There's things that that's not lining up with what you want out of life.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I have a question. Because Charnel brought it
Shoot.
up as far as social media. So my question is, What imagery is the quote unquote relationship goals that we see on social media? Because, just to give a little more
That's a
clarity
good.
with my question, it's a couple AB over here, but then CD is who we always look at. So what's the difference between AB and CD that's not relationship goals that we see over social media?
I think looking like if you look at a couple on social, oh, they're going to the movies, oh, they're doing this, oh, they're doing that, or they just got like you're seeing a lot of the things that people would want the companionship, but as far as and so that's couple C, but couple AB, they're not public with what they got going on. They're handling their business, they're talking, they're building in private. I think we glean towards just the image of I have somebody, or
Mhm.
I'm not alone, or I have a man, I have a girl. You know what I mean? A lot of people glean to that, and it's a certain image that brings when you can show off that versus actually doing the real work of how can we add to each other's life that not everybody's going to see that. They're just going to see the finished product.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think what we see on social media is just clips, right? We see little pieces of their life. We're not there in their homes and in their cars and in their bedrooms, right? We see what they want us to see. And so
Right.
I think that humanity has um they romanticize that, right? And
Yeah.
so you fix it in your head like, oh, I want my relationship to be like that, when that may not even be their relationship. Nine
Um,
times out of 10, they're doing it for likes and views. And we got a lot of comments here, y'all. They want to know if we can see their comments. Yes, we can see y'all comments.
Oh, we.
I'm
Yeah.
actually going to.
Yes, Gabby, we can see
I'm
them.
actually going to hit. Yeah, at some of the comments because some of the comments like I'm looking at it says here that says dating is simply collecting data.
Yep.
Um, and then dating is instead of getting to know the person for who they are, they're too busy getting to know what's in each other's pants, and we can't keep mixing the two. So my question, so this is what I want to know because remember, my dating time was 20 plus years ago. Okay,
Mhm.
so what I understood dating was if you meet somebody, y'all like each other, right? That we'll set a date to go out. Well, first we probably have talked on the phone about 2 or 3 times, and we probably maybe talked for an hour, maybe a couple of hours, just having conversation. Then we decide we're going to go out, right? So we go out and we go to dinner, we go to eat somewhere, we go to a movie, whatever, and we spend a lot of that time talking, laughing, enjoying each other's company. Okay,
Mm-mm.
and there was no texting, like talk on the phone,
Right.
so you be able to actually hold a conversation. Like I couldn't text me, I couldn't, send him a message on Facebook. There was none of that. You had to
Mm.
actually talk on the phone. You had to actually be in each other's presence and actually talk and have conversation. But it seems that today, and I could be wrong, but it seems that today people date electronically as opposed
Yeah.
to dating for real and in person. And of talking on the phone, it's texting for an hour when it's like just pick up on and call me.
Mm. So they don't care
Because
about that, Blair.
if I got an hour to so like what is the actual date today? Like is it really people just going out? And I don't see the pictures because social media can be so um deceive can be very, very deceiving because we took a picture by the car or we took a picture outside the restaurant or we took a picture here. But what I notice is you walk into a lot of restaurants, you see two people at a table and both of them on their phones doing this. Well, you're not
Yeah.
talking.
Mm-hmm.
So like what is the typical what does a date look like today, or what? Just what is that about? Just jump in. Anybody. Yep.
I got a whole bunch to say, and I don't want to.
I'll be quick. I'll say this because we definitely, and this is even with just friend groups too, where we at a dinner table and a lot of us are.
Yeah.
But I feel like this, no matter what relationship it is, if the person have your attention, you're going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see a post that say, "Be the person that make me forget that I have a phone." And sometimes, a lot of times, we don't have that anymore. But if a person really have your attention, we won't see a lot of the scrolling and being on Facebook and checking my whatever. If you really caught my eye and really catch my attention with talking, then you will make me forget that I even have a phone. And then that 2 hours of scrolling that I was doing at the table is just us talking and getting to know each other. Okay, I'm done. Go ahead, Shana.
When me and my man go on dates, we don't have our phones. Like they're in our pocket, mine's be in my pocketbook. Like we literally spend that time talking to one another about the things that we want to do, places that we want to go, like business ideas that we have. But prior to this relationship, I can say in my experience, going on dates was just me being targeted. It was basically like you cute. I want to know what's in your pants, and then if that's worth it, then I'll consider dating you after.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent a lot of time alone because I no wrong girl.
Yeah.
So it's they use the acronym DATE as basically penis at the end. That's what they are really using it for at this point. They feel like if they take you out on a date and they spend more than $40 on you, that they're obligated to your body. And I don't know who raised these people, but that's not what a date is.
Right.
Like if you're going to go on a date, that means you're interested in something more than just the way somebody looks. And we're human, right? So you walk past a stranger, like the first thing you see is how they look. We're natural. We're human beings. That's the first thing that attracts you to somebody because they're not talking to you. You're just seeing them for the first time. So yeah, okay, yeah, you look good. Now let me see what like be a sapiosexual. That's the way to get Charnel to even have a second conversation with you. If you can't teach me nothing, I'm not interested. So dating these days is very difficult for single people because most single people are only out to get what they can get, whether it's most of these girls, the city girl mindset, they want to get Birkin bags, which they can't even afford for themselves, or men that just want to drop their kids off at the pool. So that's me putting it country politely, sir.
That visual right now is like in my head.
I'm sorry, but it's what's real.
Come on.
Dating is very difficult because you don't know what somebody really wants. Because a lot of people are dishonest up front because they only want to get what they could get. So they're persistent liars, right? They people pretend well.
Yeah.
And once they get what they came for, then they gone. They skating. Adios, muchacho.
That's so true. It's so true and sad at the same time.
It's sad reality.
I agree with what you're saying. Like it's difficult when you're going through that single season. Somebody that wants more than just that. Like all of that, I think does play a part in a relationship eventually. But I feel like the first thing is, hey, what's your thoughts are about this? Like, what is your faith? What is your career? So like for me, a date is again getting context to it. Let's go out to eat so I can even know what you like. I can know you're vegan or you like, I can know how you smell. Like, know what, what are little quirks to that separate you from others. That's for me. I think going from the texting to in person, text chemistry is way different than in person chemistry. You could y'all have real chemistry texting, and if you get in their presence, it's like you don't have nothing to say.
Dud.
Right.
That's important. You gotta have conversation because there's a lot of stuff you miss through text. You don't see body language. You don't see tone or hear tone. Um, and going on dates and talking and actually forcing yourself and intentionally connecting with the person. Like
Yeah.
whenever I find out, I put my phone down as much as I can, and I'm like, okay, let me actually hear you out. Let's see. Let me make eye contact with you to see what's up. Are you really saying? Are you really honest about what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
So what are deal breakers?
Oof.
Like what is it in terms of that whole dating thing? Because all of you have expressed that you want to be married. Okay, so you are single people single people / in a relationship / dating, whichever category you fall into. But all of you have expressed you want to be married. So if one of our listeners tonight typed in that in the dating process is where you want to collect the information
Right.
of knowing who it is, who they are, what their standard is, what their belief, what their goal is. So, do you guys have deal breakers? And if you have deal breakers, what are those deal breakers?
I have a deal breaker.
Come on, deal breaker.
I promise I'm not shallow. However, I this is even in friendships too. I can't stay. I do not really care for a conversation where a person is, and excuse my word, dumb, like or real blind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm kind of like
Vapid.
with
Mm-hmm.
Charnel. If you can't teach me nothing, I just can't deal with you. And then also with me with a conversation, if you really get my attention, I'm sold.
Yeah.
But if I'm the type of person where, and I'm especially because I'm real bad at small talk, if
Oh,
I can't engage in a conversation that's longer than me answering a two words, then I can't deal with you.
you lost me.
So dating, if you really catch my attention outside of the physical stuff, like I need to know your intellectual side. I need to know your heart. I need to know if you gonna understand me. Cause I ain't the easiest person to get to know. I know. But if you can understand me, understand my logic and my thinking or whatever, then you have a chance. But if not, I can't deal with you.
All right,
Amen.
Juwan.
I agree with that. I think a deal breaker for me is how you treat people. So I think going out to eat is a perfect example. So if your meal is wrong and you're giving the waiter like the waiter cooked the food, you telling him off, you doing this, that, or like how you treat people is important to me because if you're having a bad day, you might talk to me like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I feel because you really get to know a lot about somebody by what they don't say. And I think how you carry yourself is important. How you talk to people is important. So how you treat outside people. If you're passing somebody on the street, you know what I mean, and they're dead wrong. But if you can show them love, I look at that. Like, okay, like you have a heart that's not just quick to be, I'm gonna get angry. I'm gonna tell somebody off. I'm gonna do that. So I mean, there's a number of deal breakers, but I think it's a very important one for me.
That's a good one. That's one of mine too. Um, One of my deal breakers
All
is
right.
very, very shallow. If you stink, I will not talk to you.
I was trying not to go there because that's one in my head.
I was trying not to either.
I'm sorry. If
Stir
you
the pot
stink,
then.
stir it, babe. If you stink, or even if you look like you stink, I'm not raising nobody's son. I'm not doing that. If you don't know how to bathe your hind parts correctly, keep it
Oh,
pushing, Papa. I don't want nothing to do with you. Number two,
All right.
do I'm serious about this. I have a mouth on me, and if you make me want to be disrespectful to you, I can't do it because I feel like that is a me opening Pandora's box. I am sweet as pie, but I'm also hell in heels if I'm pushed to that point, and I
Mhm.
don't like being that way. I am very strong in what I want, and I know what I want. I know who I am. Um, so you're not going to talk to me any old kind of way. And if you make me feel like I have to go there with you, then there's no point for us to even have any further conversation.
Right.
Uh, and I would say the last one just to wrap it up, a deal breaker for me is abuse of any kind, whether it's
Ooh.
physical, mental, emotional, or verbal. Charnel Lori Walker is not going for it. I I will literally sever ties with anybody. That is a relationship, that is friend, that is family, that is my mother, Vanessa Gale. I'm not going for it. I love people in a real way.
Yeah.
And and if I tell you that I love you, I'm also showing you that in a real way. Whether it's me showing up or just calling to say hey, or me getting up early in the morning just to pray for you via text message, because I know that's how people like to talk most of the time. Like you said, Blair, people like they're very texty. So I'm that friend. I'll get up and text you a whole prayer and say I love you, have a good day. You know, so any type of abuse, especially in a romantic relationship, I'm not going for it. That's how you operate. If that's what you're used to, then you need to go and find somebody that's going to allow you to be that way. I'm not going to do that. I'd rather sit in the corner with my pillows, all 18 of them,
Come
and
on.
and,
Come on,
and watch
18.
Netflix. I have every app known to man. I'm good over here. I'm good. I got 4 kids. I don't need no friends. I'm good. I
Yeah.
need a partner. That's what I signed up for, and that's what I want. If you can't do that, I'm an effective communicator. If y'all haven't figured that out, I can talk. So at the end of the day, I need somebody that's want to communicate with me in an effective manner. Like, you don't have to scream at me. I'm not that person. If you feel like
Absolutely.
that's what you want to do, go ahead. You look better gone.
Mhm. May
And
I add one more
oh,
deal breaker?
after you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I'll another. It literally just came to my head. Inconsistency.
Yep.
If we are dating and I'm showing you that I have interest in you, and this goes with the texting and just talking, period.
Gabby.
I don't want to hear from you Monday, Tuesday, and then you go ghost, and then I don't hear from you till Sunday.
Whew.
And
We
then
done.
you talk to me like, oh yeah, you this, you that, you mean this to me, you mean that to me, but then you don't show me. So after a while, I'm gonna stop talking to you because I need your actions to line up with what you're talking about.
Yeah.
If you is showing interest in me, not to say that I'm binding you to talk to me every day, but I at least need a consistent basis of knowing where you at with us.
Right.
And if you can't show me that as far as aligning your actions with your words, that's a complete deal breaker for me, too.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Absolutely.
I completely agree with that, bro.
That's it.
Um,
Absolutely.
while you were talking, I was thinking one of mine is just accountability. I think there's nobody that's perfect, so there's gonna be times where you do make a mistake. If you can't take accountability for your actions or where you were wrong, that's a big one to me because it's in a relationship, you're going to be somebody that's in my life. So I'm going to be influenced by you. I'm going to be affected by you. So if you're not taking accountability for even little things, that's going to affect
Mm-hmm.
you later on. Because if something where you drop the ball or you don't do it, a lot of times just be honest. Hey, I messed up. I did this. I shouldn't have said it this way. I shouldn't have handled it this way. But if you can't, or you're shifting the blame on other things, that's going to be a problem for me. Because,
Narcissist.
yeah, okay, that's another, because the communication of it is so important. I'm a type of person, you give me context to who you are, I'll be your best friend, your advocate, your biggest supporter, all that. But if you can't give me context to where you actually are and be honest about your real life, there's it's not much I can do. I won't be able to serve you. So I just feel like it's important. The accountability. the communication, and the transparency. There's things I shouldn't have to do. There's things that should be like, hey, this is what I want to know. I did this, I did that. I'm not proud of it, but this is what happened. Because when you can take those steps, I can start building trust for you. Because you didn't have to share what you shared, but the fact that you did is building the trust that I can have in you.
Listen, and at this big grown age, you should not always have to tell somebody what they did to you. You know what you did. So either you're going to be accountable or you're not. But at the end of the day, if you choose to not be accountable, that's your choice. You made that bed. Now lay in it without Charnel. I got to go. I'm out of here.
I think that's without all of us.
You got 18 pillows.
18.
You want to see him? I'll take you in there for a tour. My bed is
and about to add 19.
Listen, we love a good pillow over here at 545.
Wow, this been a really good. We're coming to a close. I've learned a lot tonight. I've made it to what's really going on out here and what's really been going on out here, because I just didn't know. It all looked like, if you just go by what you see and what you read, you just kind of think like, boy, these singles just out here being wild, ain't they? If you go by, but to actually have a conversation and hear from people who are serious about their singleness, and to hear that they have standards, and they have actual goals, and actually have what they're looking for in a mate, is very refreshing, and they know, and you guys know what you won't accept, right. Because I think it's important that you have to know what you will accept and what you won't accept, and not be willing to compromise that, which I think a lot of people just for the sake of have somebody, and a lot of times that's the worst thing you can do, is settle just because, and sometimes that can end up having very bad consequences, and in some cases even fatal consequences that we've seen, because people say have somebody. And so someone typed yes, you will be able to watch the replay of this. At someone who commented on Facebook, yes, the replay will be available when we're done, so that you can go back and watch what you missed. Absolutely. So I want to do this as we get ready to close this out tonight, because we've had quite a few people who've been watching tonight, who've been getting on both on YouTube and Facebook. And so thankful to all of them. They've really been in the comments just going at it. Tonight.
Yes.
So many comments are hilarious. Okay. But what I do want to say, or want to ask you to share, is if you can say anything, single people who are out there who may be having a struggle, maybe they're struggling in their singleness. They're a person that is dating just because they want to be alone. They could be a person that, because they're looking for love, they just feel that if I just give my body, that'll get me love. Because there are people who believe that if they give their body away, that they'll get love back. So you talk to all of the people who have watched tonight, who are watching now, who will watch this relay after, what would you say to them to help them be stronger and have more identity in their singleness if they're struggling in any area? What would you say to them that they could take it and use it and apply it to their lives, so that they can begin to both do something different and both be something different, but something better than where they are? We'll go ahead. I'll start with Juwan, Charnel, and then we'll close with Jaimier.
So I'll say this. I had a moment where a lot of my friends were either going to do what they were going to do or going back with their significant other. At a night where I'm like, man, I'm real lonely. And in that moment, I felt God say this very clearly. When did I not become? And that rocked me to my core. And I'm like, okay, there's something that I'm missing in this season. So I began like last year. I began going through a process of, okay, God, show me me. Show me the things that you want to do in my life. Show me the direction you have for me. So when somebody does come along, I can see if that matches where you're leading me. And he had to work me through a lot of things that I thought at that time I was ready, but and now from going from a place of being single to now being in a relationship, I see a lot of what God was trying to do and trying to get out of me in my single season. I began to pour into myself, build myself up, get myself ready. And as soon as I stopped focusing on I don't have somebody, that's when he changed that for me. So I would just say you're not a lost cause. There's hope for you. Just keep pouring into yourself. The right people will come. So that's what I would say.
Well, dang, Juwan, you took a
That's
lot of what
good.
I was gonna say.
Oh, be calm.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. So I'm just gonna piggyback off of what Juwan said. Because like Blair said, there, just being transparent, I always was like, you know what, if I give my body to him, maybe he'll love me. Or if I love them enough, they'll love me back. And that was never, never the case. So I took me away from everybody else. And I had to deal with me and I had to heal and I had to know and understand that I am worth it, was always worth it to begin with, and I'm always going to be worth it. So just my advice to you would be to speak what you want. Like, understand that you are a speaking spirit and you shall have what you say. And just Shep is always on me to watch my mouth, which is what God told me last year around October. Like, just close your mouth sometime. Like, you think what you think, and then you say whether it's truth or not. I'm quick to be like, you know what, no, and I say what I mean. But sometimes you have to take a step back and just say, you know what, I'm going to deal with me, and I'm going to let God handle it the way that he wants to handle it. Like, you can't rush God. His timing is perfect. And
Yes.
so with that, like, with your whole waiting period, busy yourself with kingdom things and make yourself the person that you would like to attract.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's
So
good.
be the person that you want to attract. If you want somebody that got a lot of money, baby, hustle. If
Here.
it's real. If you want somebody that got good credit, fix your own. If you
Mhm.
want somebody that's compassionate and loving, be that. Attract what you want. And then give yourself grace. Don't always, be down on yourself. Give yourself grace in your waiting period. Like, just always just be the beautiful person that you are.
Awesome. Awesome. Come on, Jaimier, close us out.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, unlike my other panelists, I am not in a committed relationship. But I will say, I will say, from a personal place to another person, do not give up because I just turned 33, and honestly, within probably a year or two, I felt myself in a way of giving up on it. So I was just like, well, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. And it put me in a down state of most likely it's not going to happen. So I gave up on myself. But then after a while, and someone encouraged me, and I was able to pick myself back up. So I'm telling somebody else, do not give up. Our timing is not God's timing. And so whenever you are ready in your moment of singleness, getting yourself together, and as Charnel and Joanne said, you have to ready yourself and to build yourself to what you want to attract. So in this time, really just build yourself and gain that love for yourself in order for you to get that love from somebody else. So in all of what I just said, don't give up.
Awesome. That was good. good words of wisdom that you all gave. And what an awesome way up and pour into yourself, and then of course be the person that you want to attract. And the truth is that's the single people. I think that kind of speaks to everybody. Um, because in life, period, even the type of people that you want to be connected to, you have to become those people in order to attract them. And
Mhm.
to be your best self at anything, you have to pour back into yourself in some kind of way. You have to personally develop yourself. You have to personally build yourself up and do those things. And never giving up is again really on anything, that you don't give up on anything, even if whether you have accomplished it, whether it has happened for you or not. If you still believe and you still desire it, then you give up, because one thing we know that goes with all things is that because of who we are, because God lives in us, we really can't give up on anything, because if all things are possible through him, we can't really give up on anything, because it means that anything that we desire, that we want, and of course if it aligns with his will, that it'll happen. This has to happen within the time frame that it has to happen. So I appreciate thing that you guys have shared today. It's been a wonderful conversation. You guys have brought so much value to this topic, and I believe that there are folks who are single, who have been gotten on, who watch this replay. I believe that they will be helped and encouraged by what was said tonight. So this was an absolute great conversation. Thank you all so much for agreeing to be on the Locker Room this month. As so much value, as I said before, so much value has been shared tonight. Comments, people have really been enjoying this conversation. And so I also want to say thank you to all of our listeners and all of our viewers, both on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter tonight, who have been, I know I call it Twitter still, it's Twitter.
X.
So I want to thank you
It's
to
Twitter.
all of those viewers who have watched tonight on all three platforms. Appreciate you spending some of your Monday night with us, and you always, you guys are always me on Monday. I always do it the last Monday of every month, and you guys are continually logging on and being a part of the conversation. So I want to personally thank you all. We will be back again this month with another edition of the Locker Room with some more amazing panelists and some more amazing conversation. And so be looking on social media, as the will be coming out soon. You'll see the guests and the topic that we will be having. And we're going to keep this train rolling. Thank you all. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. To my panelists, don't go anywhere just yet. Don't log off just yet. But if for our online platforms, listen, we thank you. We appreciate you for being with us and joining tonight on the room. And you to have a wonderful night. Enjoy the rest of your week. And we will see you next month on the next edition of the Locker Room. Love you all and good.